Pocket. Get us out.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back. Let's turn our attention to the Rockets because they wasted, a golden opportunity to beat the Warriors without Kevin Durant. Remember, he went down late in the third quarter of Game 5. Splash Brothers combined for 60 points in Game 6 to close out the series in Houston, which means it's time for another round of Blame Pie. Richard, you're in the pie seat today.
Let's go.
So tell us, who gets servings of the pie? And Scotty and I will tell you when you're wrong.
Okay, I got 33% Mike D'Antoni.
That is very exact.
Yes, 33%. This is a pie, right? This is how we cut them in my house. I got 33% James Harden.
Okay.
I got...
Give me some D'Antoni, though. Why?
I really want to get to James Harden, but okay, this is why D'Antoni. He's had 3 MVPs, right? He's about to have a top 2 guy this year in James Harden, and he's only been to 1 conference final. And it's because, look, he plays a great brand of basketball. It's fun to watch, but is it championship basketball, right? If you want to get to the postseason, you want to have a little bit of fun, fine. But is it championship basketball?
And I totally agree with a lot of what you're saying. I do blame Mike D'Antoni. I think the game plan of what they brought in Game 6 was not efficient. You've lost KD, and you have a chance to go at this team. You have to be more effective. You have to change your game plan. And as Richard said, this is a guy that's been very consistent in what he does as far as his offense. You watch him create MVPs year after year after year. Never change what he does. Well, in the playoff, you have to make adjustments. And if you don't make an adjustments and you continue to do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. And that's why you didn't see any difference in who Houston was in that Game 6 because they didn't make any adjustments. You lose a guy like Kevin Durant. Defensively, you have to make different adjustments. There's no way guys like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson should be getting as many touches in that game as they did.
So do you think that D'Antoni is the coach of the Houston Rockets next season?
I think he is.
I think he is, too, because I think Houston loves the regular season winning. I played there.
Yeah.
And they're great fans, but there's not a lot of pressure to win championships there. And I hate to say it that way, but it's just how they're bred there. And they're going to allow him to coach as long as he wants. He's winning 60 games this season, so, hey, have at it.
Well, they won some in between yours. I know yours are so thick, it's hard to see through all of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, I was going to say, obviously things have changed since then. You said James Harden.
I say James Harden because, look, he is one of the best basketball players on the planet. If not number 1, he's top 3, he's 1 or 2. You can make any argument. He was going to take him, right, as the 2nd pick in the NBA draft this year. But I just think
for his house.
I just think James Harden, I was talking about life. I think James Harden, to me, is such a dominant player, and he does so many good things, but there's just too many of these moments that we just are looking for him. And last year, they had a built-in excuse, right? They were like, well, we lost Chris Paul, and we were up 3-2, and then everyone pointed to the amount of threes that were missed, right? But he was like, I thought if they would have had Chris Paul, the way Chris Paul was playing, they would have won. But then what happened? This year, KD goes down.
I mean,
you're up, right? You have a chance in the second half, and then you go home and you lose both of those games. You can't even force a Game 7 without Kevin Durant. That means you are so far actually away from the mentality and the talent of Golden State that you still can't get it done.
I think we have to give James a lot of the blame because we've talked about his style of play throughout the regular season. And we've said numerous amount of times that's not going to work in the playoffs. That's not going to win in the playoffs. But he continued to display that type of basketball throughout the game. And we watch how during the playoff that he was fighting against the shot clock a lot of times. We didn't see that during the regular season. So everyone that watched the Houston Rockets knew that this was what they was going to have to weather. And you play against a good team like Golden State defensively, they're not going to let you get shots off down the stretch.
I mean, so I give you credit. You were one of the loudest voices. You were like, wow, James Harden looks so great right now, and wow, this isn't going to work in the playoffs. And pretty much that's what happened. Who else is getting the rest of the blame pie?
Daryl Morey. I believe Daryl Morey also gets 33% because, look, he is the mastermind. He is the person that orchestrated the trade to bring James Harden in. He's the person that brought Mike D'Antoni in. He is the one that's facilitated the system. The whole, we only want threes or layups, nothing in between. It doesn't matter how many threes we shoot. how many threes we miss. I want to keep doing this. And it's like Daryl Morey with all the basketball that he's played in his life. Right? It's a joke.
Turd.
It's a joke. Daryl Morey is one of the best GMs in all of sports, our presidents in all of sports. I'm just giving him a little bit of mess right now because at some time you got to look internally and like, what can we do? If your only goal is to beat the Warriors, then what do you have to do? You have to kind of tweak some things. And obviously under this current thing, it's not working.
I'm not going to blame the GM. I'm going to blame the other enabling bodies that was out there on that basketball court who could have made a difference. They could have made a huge difference.
Well,
could have gotten the ball out of James Harden's hand.
And my 1% is everybody else left
better. PJ Tucker could have played better.
No, but my 1%, there's 33, 33, and 1. 1% is everybody else. These are the three figureheads. These are the three guys.
I'll give him 1%.
Yeah, you give Daryl Morey 1%.
You're switching the 1% and the 33%.
I just think that they're all so good.
1%.
James Harden MVP.
He did bring in some good groceries.
I will say Chris Paul, I thought, had his best game of the series in Game 6. Didn't have a good Game 5.
Well, I'm not blaming him.
I'm asking the owner, though, a question of this team because the owner bought this team and made it it was pretty clear. Look, he hasn't come out and said it. This was not on the record. But if you look at the moves they made, it really seemed like they wanted to get rid of some of their luxury tax money and not be paying so much. And there were some cuts made. And then Daryl Morey, I thought, did a very good job over the season, scraping and getting guys from here and there and all of that stuff. But the bottom line is, if the ownership doesn't want to pay the extra, and it is extra, that it takes to win a championship, which is what we're talking about here, you are probably not going to take down one of the greatest teams of all time. And that is a decision they have to make. The owner was in the hallway after that game. I'm sorry that he was in the hallway after that game. Right? We're going to make it. This is going to change. This is going to change. He's the one who has to decide if that's going to change. It's up to him.
But if they had all of that, they didn't have to play against KD.
Yeah.
They didn't have to play against KD, so we can't say that, losing,
Do you know who's not playing against KD in Game 1?
Tell me.
The Portland Trailblazers. He's going to have a strained right calf reevaluated on Thursday, which means he will at least miss Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. A source confirmed to our Ramona Shelburne and also tells Ramona it's unlikely he plays in Thursday's Game 2, even though he will see the doctor that day. Boogie Cousins also be reevaluated on Thursday to determine the status of his partially torn left quad, which he, of course, suffered against the Clippers on April 15th. Now, Boogie says he does hope to return before the playoffs are over. We'll see about that. I got to tell you, Scotty, when I was in Houston after they did beat the Rockets without Kevin Durant, when I spoke to Warriors brass, the feeling they gave me was, let's see how the start of the next series goes, right? No need to rush him back if we're up 2-0. So we don't know when Kevin's going to come back. It might depend on, his health, but also how they do. And damn near better than anyone, what it takes to three-peat in the league twice. Do you think that they can win their third straight title regardless of KD's health here?
No, I don't think they can win without KD. They're going to be able to savage and win some games as they did in Game 6 because no one is accustomed to playing the Golden State Warriors without Kevin Durant over the last couple of years. But when you're in a series and you're playing a team night after night, they're going to make some adjustments. It's not to say that they're not going to win a game in that series, but it's going to be a tough struggle. We're not going to see the dominance that we've seen in the Golden State Warriors when KD is on the floor.
And there's a fatigue factor that starts to come in with all of the other guys, right? You look at Draymond or Andre Iguodala or Livingston. All of these guys' minutes have to get up. And so now you're starting to play more. And there's more stress on Steph. There's more Steph on Clay. And when they won 73, and then they had a much deeper bench. Right. So they don't have that bench now because all of that has been put into Kevin Durant. So now to miss Kevin Durant, you're going to be asking these guys to be doing a lot more. You looked at it. They were just kind of piecing together that Game 6. They were like, Steph's in foul trouble.
Strength in numbers, baby.
Yeah, Quinn, you're up, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, and so that's where it gets a little tough for them.
Well, that's why it was so crucial for them to win that Game 6. Not just win the series, but if they had won it in 7, they'd be turning it around in 48 hours. Now they've had what will be 4 days of rest. And these starters were playing huge minutes in this Houston series. Kevin Durant was playing 45 minutes a game going into the game he got hurt. I think that at some point that affects those kinds of injuries. And so getting that 4-day break for guys who are still left, the walking, is important. But to your point, I don't know if it's going to be enough. And we'll see, even if Kevin comes back by the end of this series and they win, I'll be interested to see the
Kevin Durant got small calf, so I expect him back pretty quick.
He has had this injury twice before. He's been back after a week each time, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if calf size.
You got baby calves?
I can't. I'm not a doctor, but Scottie Pippen apparently is. Coming up, we're going to talk to not only Richard and Scottie, but our Bucks reporter Malika Andrews is going to join us. We'll talk about Giannis, whether he's ready for the conference finals. Stick around for that. First, though, here's what the Jump recommends for today. The New Yorker did a tremendous profile on our teammate Jackie McMullen. The headline reads, Jackie McMullen is the great chronicler of basketball's golden age. Could not be more true. Love the photo, too. Check it out during the break, but come back because we got